Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Prey. So, we finished the main story game. We looked at the credits, the different endings, the big spoiler at the end of the game. Not really that big of a spoiler because they're hinting at it even on the main screen here. And it's been possibly a week or two since I've last played this game. So I need to do Prey Mooncrash. And so let's just launch that, and let's just see what that experience really is going to be. It's launching a completely different app at this point. There is definitely some indications looking at the achievements as far as Mooncrash, that you're playing as different characters, and that it is going to probably be a little bit of a shorter experience, multi-run experience, I would guess. Probably not trying to lean heavily at all into story, even though, in all fairness, the main game didn't really lean into story here. We can see this footage of a moon here that's glitching and rewinding. This might be a lot more of a run and gun shooter, which is what I really wanted in the main game. Let's see. Prey fans. Prey Mooncrash has everything loved in Prey, the gameplay, narrative, and atmosphere, but with an exciting twist. In Mooncrash, you'll be making repeated runs through an ever-changing simulation of the Pythias moon base. Each run will present you with combinations of enemies, hazards, and loot. You might die a lot, but you'll also grow stronger and unlock new characters and gear to face these challenges. We hope you enjoy the mystery of Pythia, or Pythias, what happened to the crew, and how to escape with your life. As always, thanks for playing our games. Prey Dev, Team Arcane Austin. So it seems to me like it's a roguelite experience where the main Prey is more of a standard just run and gun adventure story. Just expect to die. Now inherently that implies there won't be a difficulty setting built in. Seems like that's the case. And we're starting at the satellite. We have tattoo on our arm.
Hello. This is Basilisk to KASMA Module 13.
So, we have a doll, a picture of a kid.
They should be arriving in a few moments. One is an operator containing a backup of the base. It's a simulation of research data, company secrets, and connectors from brains. We picked you because it's protected by a lot of encryption.
So we're supposed to hack it?
Looking glass visor, so you'll be able to search the visually. You'll be plugging into the moon base as it was, seeing the personnel that was stationed there. There's a lot to do. I'm sending you orders along so you can check them off as you go. Oh, and congratulations. I am pleased to inform you that executing these orders will fulfill your contract. After you recover the data, we're going to pick you up. So great news. You'll be with family soon. Okay, M13, you're the expert. The delivery is docking now, so I'll leave you to it.
M13 apparently is my name. Where did I jump down from? Over here. So immediately, why would you trust any of this at all? You don't have a flashlight. So, yeah. You have a doll, you have a picture. I've knocked the doll already off where it was and way across the room. You have a tattoo on your arm. I may notably have a problem getting down. I had to kind of jump. Okay. We've got some kind of containers. Pause now if you want to read this. So we're going through a simulation over and over again. No power to our oxygen sets. You're in more of a first-person perspective, which you were in the main game too. But you can look down and see your feet. It probably isn't immediately the same gimmick that you're playing as a typhoid that has human memories injected into it. Instead, we're probably just playing as a human that's getting other human memories injected into it. Pause now if you want to read this. But we may also be playing as typhoids. Or this whole thing is a lie in a simulation. It looks like some of the items that you would have been able to pick up in the main game are not the same. Here you have toilet paper. Just throw that. Duct tape on all the cabinets holding them closed. One assumes this is a smaller space shuttle. What you needed here, I would say a little bit more than... Oh, that flush is rather nice compared to what it seemed like. I never actually saw the water moving when we'd flush the toilet in the main game. Here we have yet another mirror that doesn't work. It would make a lot more sense if you were hired to, like, check out this data because you're working with the police and not working with the Talos Corporation, that's my concern here, is that you're just still working for the exact same Talos Corporation, although it does say orbital interceptor satellite and have a different logo. Operators shall digitally pursue the company's reasonable satisfaction completing their data acquisition. So this is just like a contract. And then we've dispatched a delivery to including a flower from your wife's garden back home. Everyone appreciates your hard work, including me. You're really chipping away at that contract. Best be. Basilisk. See, and immediately you have this thought that they've talked about family twice, so almost certainly you don't have a family and you've been brainwashed into thinking you have a family. And so we have this recovered operator, which immediately gets stuck. And we want to plug it in there. And then we have this looking glass. And this just feels like an unnecessary little tutorial room. For a DLC of the game that just would not likely be owned or playable. I don't even know if you can own this DLC and play it without owning the main game, so do you really need to go through a tutorial room like this versus just a shorter cutscene to set this up? Like, you could just jump into the looking glass at this point. Now, that version of the looking glass technology, I think, is potentially older than what we saw in the main game, which may mean nothing. So, immediately we saw texture load in happening, and almost certainly this Mooncrash was programmed by a completely different team, because it's a completely different application and executable, and there's really no reason for that. So, we can only play as this volunteer, Andreas Alkna. Eventually we would unlock the director, Riley Yu, the security officer, Vijay Bhatia, if I pronounce that, the custodian, Claire Witten, and the engineer, Joan Winslow. Which arguably that puts you kind of heavy on the female characters, 3-2, but whatever. I doubt too many people are going to complain about that. So, to start with, this guy is going to have a ton of potential psi abilities that you could unlock with a lot of psi and health. Escape with the volunteer through the mimic portal to unlock their story objective. Apparently, to unlock the next one, you have to escape by uploading your consciousness. And this is locked until we get the psi-scope at the top of the Pytheas Labs. We have to find this guy's corpse before we can play as this guy. We have to finish Officer Body's story objective to get this character. And we have to escape with the volunteer to unlock this character. So best case scenario is you finish this and it unlocks this one and possibly this one. But then this character has more human abilities and less psi abilities, but has a psi scope and a psi hypno. This one has only human abilities, and he has the propulsion system, which basically means none of the other characters will have that loadout potentially, or maybe you can build up those loadouts later. This character, this custodian, has no ability, so it's just basic 100 health. So there's got to be some way that you play as this character and just flee real quickly. And then this one is a wrench and spare parts and human abilities. There's nothing we can really do here. So we start with this. We have our main objective of escaping the moon. Story objective is to escape the volunteer through the mimic portal to unlock the story objective. And seems like at some point we could purchase loadout and chipsets. And if anything, this probably highlights exactly what they wanted me to do with the main storyline, is that they heavily wanted me to use the psi abilities. So it just kind of feels like the game should have probably forced me in the main story to gain psi abilities and use them exclusively, and then play a second time.
This is an emergency broadcast. Please report to designated escape
We have a wrench weapon.
Prepare for evacuation. If you are unable to reach an escape pod, security will track your position as they conduct a final sweep before launching.
Okay. No matching key card. Last used by Terry Brown. There we go. So we needed to search that corpse.
Detected.
So immediately we get detected by a where's this? Ooh, we've got I have no health kits and we were getting wrecked. So clearly they wanted me to just die there. And apparently I could take a screenshot, I don't know why. So we got 100 currency sim points for unlocking the character, which was already unlocked. We killed a mimic, a greater mimic, TranStar crew was located, fabrication plans were apparently collected, keycards were collected, and simulation deaths +1. So seems like if you just keep on dying, you would continuously get points. No remaining crew members, resetting moon-based simulation so you can start a new run. Potentially here, you have a situation where we will eventually unlock each of these characters and potentially sacrifice several of these characters to save just one. And all current progress will be saved. That's not the button I was meaning to press. So we know pretty much exactly what they want us to do. And we know that it's not going to be that much. Maniac Mansion had a similar concept, certainly, in that you had to potentially sacrifice at least one or two characters to likely succeed in Maniac Mansion. But that's pretty much the last time a game has had something like that happen. Maybe in a couple storyline there have been endings where you sacrifice people, but it's not a very fun thing. While not normally required, you should purchase a pistol before entering the simulation again. Right, so I'm highlighting it. I have to hit X, and then we'll buy some bullets, and then we'll hit next. So that starts us with a loadout of -300 of whatever we would earn, I assume. So I have to really ask the question here as far as whether did I randomly just get attacked by 3 thermal mimics because it was scripted to happen, or did I just have a terrible bad run of luck? Like, I question one or the other. I mean, it seems to me like what happened there is that things didn't change, which is weird because I would have expected them to change when we restarted the simulation, and B, yeah, I was expecting to kind of be in a different place doing a different thing. Let's see. We'll just put these loadouts where I want them. So I got 150 points for killing the Greater Mimic. I didn't get health back. I thought maybe I'd gotten health back. So Typhon Gate. Use the station to monitor and track nearby typhons. So there's 0 in this area. And right now we don't have that slow down combat time feature, and yet you do have the zoom in. Okay. So you're assuming you have just a helmet on. Apparently. Why would you want to turn the gate?
Activation in 3, 2, 1.
Like, why do I need the gate turned off? I guess maybe if I had Typhon DNA in me, that might be a problem. So you have a moon base here. A little bit of textures here, but not a lot, really. Let's see. I question whether I'll take fall damage on the moon. doesn't really feel like moon gravity. It's not that floaty kind of jump that you'd expect. System Defender. Might as well equip a chipset since we've got it. I guess we're working our way towards a crater. Or we can just play thoroughly. Inherently, you've already broken the concept of the game, even before they've done anything else. Because the Mooncrash concept implies that you'll be on the moon, and even if it is a moon base that has a decent amount of stuff. Oh, I guess there's just a shield, so they don't have a helmet on. Yeah. Even if you are on a moon base, there's a real high chance that there's nothing here. That definitely feels like that is the case here, is that there's just nothing in this whole area. This flashing, popping in of shadows there. I can immediately say this feels like it was programmed differently and not as well. If we're finding all these corpses, like that seems to make a little bit more sense in this case of the game than it did in the previous case of the game, where what is this supposed to be? An apple core? So I guess maybe the idea is we're supposed to clear out the areas. This does feel more run and gunny. But it still kind of has this weird feeling where it's only going to be run and gunny so much as... Did I kill everybody? Nope, I don't think I did. It's only going to be run and gunny as far as your second playthrough, or second time in an area. The first time in an area, you are going to take your sweet time and investigate things slowly. I'm just going to actively try to invite fall damage and try and figure it out. This flashing light, I suppose, is to indicate that's the way we're supposed to go. So we can go back this direction. But the main goal is to just, I think, clear out areas. And it's kind of funny that there's a demo of the main game that is that first day or something similar to that first day, and then there is this, which feels very much like what could have been another demo. This looks like you could do this, and then looks like you could do this and get up there, but I don't think intentional. That is intentional, or maybe it is. Maybe that is just a straight up shortcut that will be accessible later. Well, I guess we can run. Still have stamina meters, slowing down the progress of the whole game. I guess you have only a certain amount of time in which something can be tracked. Noticeably, these Typhons don't seem like they want to attack as much. Now, could I have hacked this and bypassed that? I don't think so. And at any point, you could still run into other mimics. Taking shotgun shells. Arguably not that useful if we don't have a shotgun. And this whole path so far feels fairly limited. This is the main crater, and I have to assume that the general idea is that this goes in 3 or 4 different directions. Typhon lure. Draw them away from gates using the Typhon lure. Oh, we apparently have a recycling grenade too. Now. But yeah, you just don't have that much stuff. So, without that much stuff, let's just bring up the menu and see how much inventory we really even have. We would need neuromods before we could even do anything. Regeneration, unknown ability. Our goal here is to escape through the mimic portal. Which I guess just implies there is a mimic portal. Interesting, you have this like pyramid-like structure, or pyramid structure. It's just nothing's going to show up and attack you so much. So we could go up to the labs, we could go to the crew annex, or we could go to the Moonworks. The game seems to mostly want us to go to the security workstation first. We don't have a ton of bullets, but these characters are also seemingly like Moonworks seems to be completely broken here. And this isn't a visual glitch, this is intentional visual glitches because it's a simulation. So let's just walk this way and see what that does for us. It probably implies that we can't reach that area until we unlock a new character or unlock more data or something. If anything, this feels much more like a fake moon base than a real moon base. You'd have these structural supports. So, emphasized. Okay. So it's straight up called a Typhon Tower, which definitely implies to me that yep. There's a narrow mod.
Extract ignition.
This harvester is apparently harvesting something. I don't know if I'm supposed to be stealthing my way around this, or if I'm supposed to just be running and gunning my way through all this. It does seem like now we're immediately in that same position like the main game, where there's not enough bullets. There's another glitch. So it seems to me like we just can't even get through this. Right. Let's go ahead and change our loadout to something more reasonable. We don't have many glue bullets, we don't have many hand bullets and gun bullets. So, it does seem like we are likely going to fail here. I don't even know if this is the right direction I'm supposed to go. Well, it does say security workstation, so that probably is something that would push us towards finding more humans. I heavily suspect you will have to die the first time in this game. That seems fairly designed to be a pretty guaranteed experience. Let's see. 10 health after immediately taking any damage, and really just doesn't seem like there would be any reason why you would possibly not take Typhon abilities, so let's just use it. And so we get this animation, which they said you had to hold that against your eye for 5 minutes as it's injecting you. That does not feel like 5 minutes. And that's probably the last time we'll ever see that animation, or at least for this one character. It's possibly the last time we'll ever see that animation. Seems like there's some radiation this way. So let's instead take the maintenance shaft. Let's see. So the thing here, and this is what I was really missing in the main game, was the idea that there should be some kind of XP points in the game, that with every kill you would potentially get an improvement. Like, this inherently pushes me further towards really wanting to play and find enemies and shoot them, instead of just avoiding them because there's no reward for potentially fighting enemies in the main game. I don't know if I have any dismantle ability. Just letting those things hit me definitely didn't help. So that door will just open. We have a command center option here. We have a lab section here. A Q-beam cell. Doesn't really feel like we would run into a Q-beam gun, though. That's just kind of expecting too much. So we can now download an area map, which, yeah, I really question just how long this game really will be if this is the general crater area. There's 3 levels, it seems, and then the overall moon base itself really just diverts into 3 other sections. Maybe not smaller sections, they could be actually really big sections. Let's see. So we could escape. We can check all the statuses. Everything seems to be good at the moment. Everything seems to be working. So there seems to be probably some supply rooms too. So a lot of hints, basically. And overall, we now kind of know that there's just a bunch of dead bodies going on here to find, and it's not even that many. Really, it looks like there are 15 in this area and possibly around 18 to 20 in each of the other areas, so 20, 40, 60, 80, maybe somewhere around 80 people overall would be a good guess. Let's see, where does it want us to go now as far as objectives go? Escape the simulation, escape an escape pod, escape with a volunteer through the mimic portal to unlock. If I just escape the simulation with the escape pod, that solves one problem immediately. I wonder if I escaped with the escape pod, though, would that then re-randomize the simulation? And until then, the simulation is the same, which that wouldn't even be a roguelite experience. That would be something completely different. I don't even know what you would call that. So, we don't have the dismantle ability. It doesn't seem like there's a recycling station. So all of these resources we're potentially picking up may not mean much to start with. Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't know what's new about the Nora mods that we've unlocked. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to take a break. I was perhaps not as prepared as I thought. We should probably go to this storage room and check that out before we do anything else otherwise. But yeah, 40 minutes in, there's has a lot of chance of being something that would catch my attention a lot more than the main game, but it also has the problems potentially of being really short. We'll just have to see. I'm gonna pause the recording, take a break. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So I suppose what could happen here is we could go this way and find out that the lab connection from this point underground is also blocked in the same way that it was blocked with just the memory glitches before. So yeah, we may have to escape with the shuttle, and it may just be a case that while they're saying it's kind of randomly generated, it actually isn't so randomly generated. Yeah. So yeah, this almost feels like this is a shortcut that would only work if you had the, well, maybe kinetic blast would free you through this, or if you had the mimic ability. But yeah, so far we can't get to the storage room that way. Yeah, does this look like something that you could kinetic blast? Maybe, maybe not. I wouldn't immediately assume I could. It almost feels like it would make sense to repair this, but I would need the repairability to actually repair it. So that's actually a no-go too. So yeah, let's see where this takes us. I wouldn't be surprised if this doesn't do much for us. Okay. We probably don't need to wind up to hit this. Right. So, pause now, I guess, if you want to read this. But yeah, we see a glitch there. And I suspect maybe we need to turn the power on to multiple facilities before we can get any further around that. It does just seem like anything could be a mimic, but interesting we'd get exotic material. But they don't seem like they're super aggravated enough that they would just attack you. And there's still control module receptacle. It would be crazy that the simulation would be adjustable from inside the simulation, but it kind of feels like that might very well be the case. We got some bullets there, and we have fabricator and recycler, which pretty much, I guess, tells us that we need to come back to this control center multiple times, I think. It's so ridiculous in the fact that it literally is just like nothing to give the XP for killing things, for finding things. And yet it totally changes the feel and my motivation as far as just, do I really want to play the game more? Okay. So immediately needs to recycle things. There is, I guess, maybe some integrity elements to the weapons now, which that's not something I dealt with before. Specific heal for specific types of traumas seem to also be a thing. Both of these have the same amount of integrity to them, so we'll do that. And we'll try and auto sort some stuff. We already have exotic material. Let's see. Some kind of food. You'd almost expect that there would be an achievement for just doing some very basic things here while you're doing this, but it's probably better that there aren't, because it would feel kind of ridiculous to get an achievement for recycling things or fabricating bullets. Right. There is potentially a danger in the idea that either this is a level design that I can just run around the entirety of the map for. Still not sure what is the new thing that's being highlighted there. Like, either this all resets when we escape or when we die and the resources get reset, or I'm collecting a bunch of resources that potentially get wasted, and that there is just a finite amount of resources overall. Let's see.
Requesting operator.
Doesn't make sense to even request this guy. Alright, let's go down this next direction and see what happens if we try to go to power control. Nope. Not so much a different area, it's just a different room. At a certain level, that is also kind of what I wanted more of in the main game, is that you would have specific rooms that had specific focuses on them. Let's see, computer module receptacle. Seems like we may end up just carrying a lot of those around, and that there may very well just be entire quests to bring a computer module to each of these slots, or perhaps pick up a computer module and plug it into one slot and only one slot. That's just a light. So I guess by default I will just run around and investigate as many places as possible. As long as nothing presents itself as too big of a problem. Let's see. Seems like we came in through that area. And that's an area we can't really do much with. We could search that building. We came in through that area, and so we kind of searched this area, and then let's see, didn't really go that far in this direction. We may have looked at that, but maybe didn't look at that. This harvester is questionable as far as just whether it's going to ever be something we fight or not. And then you just have this area too. Let's see.
Materials department at 100% capacity.
So this harvester seems to collect things and then come up into this area. So there's a whole little secret area up here. Some extra neuromods. Although, doesn't this inherently make a situation though where if I spend my extra neuromods all now, let's see, 5 damage within fire damage, backlash, kinetic blast. You just have so many things anyways. We've never done super thermal, so let's just equip super thermal anyways. So we have something to do.
Remain 5 meters away at all times.
So I can't ride it. Okay. And if you had the scope, you could potentially, I guess, zoom in a little bit more. Yeah, my main concern definitely would be around the idea of, let's just go down here. No quick saves or anything like that. So I could fall to my death here. Very possibly will fall to my death here. Let's not do that. Like, I guess my biggest concern would be to shotgun 34%, shotgun 35%, shotgun. Why do we have 2 different equipped shotguns? S4 tactical, S4 tactical. You do run into the same problems as the main game though, where it's just a lot of time seemingly built around. Oh, interesting. I'm short on a different type of material. A lot of time built around recycling things and fabricating things. Okay. Let's jump down here and see if we take any damage. Yes, we did. Nope. You're just not falling very hard. So it does seem like you won't take any fall damage. Which is good to know. This is all sideways. Really an experiment on just, I think, how awkward couldn't the geometry get? Let's just go this way. Climb, climb, climb. Getting the A prompt. Climb, tapping the A button to climb. Yeah, all it's doing is having me climb at that spot. Which, yeah, that can help me a little bit. It's not going to get me everywhere I want to go. How important is it potentially to get a neuromod or a collectible of any sort? It may not be that important at all. And certainly it's not very good gameplay if you're having to faff about trying to figure out whether there's a collectible somewhere or not. Yeah, it does kind of uniquely feel like they're just throwing operators at you. But with your certain character at the moment, I don't think they could throw much more at you and expect you to really live. Like, if I was fighting a nightmare, I would almost certainly die. If I was fighting typhons, phantoms, like one phantom maybe, 2 or 3, pretty much impossible. Now, inherently, I've never really been used the it's funny, it's like serial numbers on the rocks. I've never really used the let's just put this out somewhere where it's more likely to be useful. Yeah, I've never really used the Typhon stuff, so the Typhon abilities, so I don't know if the Typhon abilities are the thing I should be using with operators at the moment. Feels like the guns reload a little bit faster. Definitely feels like we are going to just run into a situation where we have to find all the Typhons and kill them, or we're going to have to hack our way through the Typhon gates anyways, so interesting. There's a helmet, and then there's paints. I question when we look at the map, which let's just do that. I question if this map would ever change, and I really question if this map would ever change. So they said it would be like randomized simulation experiences, but I really question the truth of that, or whether it really is just going to be more of a case that we have a very similar experience each time. Now I have a stun gun, which has no charge. Let's see, pro tip, I got stuck on the wrong side of a Typhon gate the other day. Phantom almost ate my butt until I figured out I could zap the sensor with my stun gun. I guess I should tell engineering, but then they'd fix it. VJ. So you could potentially cheat, or you can just like kill the last Typhon. And then the game really is just basically a Where's Waldo experience, where we're looking for stuff, I guess. That's pretty much all you're looking for, though. It's just generic supplies. You're not going to be tricked by mimics, more than likely, showing up. You're not going to run into any like puzzles or challenges. All the recycling goods, potentially not that useful either. If anything, I guess it's probably just giving you opportunities to gain more more points, and I assume that's what's going on here, is that with every bit of junk I pick up, I assume I'm getting some more points. Alright, so we have a control module now. Which, what do we do with a control module? See if he decides. See if he starts shooting at the other guy. You can see the physics is still fairly broken in this version of the game. The physics in particular feels like a flaw in the amount of gravity you would say each item has. Crater supply room now open to us. If we could get to that point. So there's a cystoid nest. It doesn't seem like you get points where if the turret decides to shoot something. Which that could probably be a better balance of the idea of having a turret. Or having turrets in the game. That really didn't make a lot of sense that they existed in the main game at all. They were never strong enough to matter. Right. So I'm trying to see every place on the map. Try and look in the right directions. There's a lot of corners and things, certainly. Alright. Let's eat this tea ration and eat that tea ration. And I guess we'll just leave the wrench on him. Like, inherently, I think the way to get back down is probably to do that and then jump all the way down here. And then let's go up here. It's funny, it's only been an hour of gameplay, but this feels like it's been longer. Perhaps just because we've actually accomplished more. I think we already had read that. Okay. Control module receptacles. We have control modules, but we can't seemingly equip them. Did we not pick up a control module? Menu. let's see. Transfer all of our trash. Go ahead and get rid of the one that has lower integrity. Wrenches have no integrity, so we can just get rid of whatever there. And then I guess it just comes down to, like, is it possible that we should get rid of some of this other stuff? Don't quite feel like it. I should. We've eaten a tea ration, so we can now make tea rations if we had the right resources, which we don't. We are low on bullets, and unless we got actual weapon upgrades, I suspect we'll never have the best setup that we could possibly have as far as just using guns. So I guess it is now the case where power control. Alright. I'm just gonna go ahead and drop this right there and assume that that goes there at a different time. The real problem here, though, is with the neuromods, you're just not going to be able to really do too much with them. Guess we could see if maybe getting these kinds of neuromods only might lead to an achievement for having only Typhon neuromods, like the main game would have done. And I guess the thing about this more than anything is because this is a somewhat smaller area, like, it is reasonable that you might come back and like collect things that you didn't collect before, go back and pick up some items. But yeah, I'm just mostly trying to eliminate the possibility that there's anything in this general area that's not marked on the map that I may have missed. If anything, I'm probably just wasting time. Yeah. Like that general direction doesn't look like it has anything in it. So let's move the main story forward. I'm still not really sure what I'm supposed to be doing with these turrets. This is open, so we know we've already checked this. He's glitched. There goes all my stamina. And the flashlight is better, but it's not perfect. So the flashlight 2 is about to die.
Vacuum.
So what it seems like is potentially going to happen here is we'll get to the shuttle bay and either escape, or we'll get to the shuttle bay and it will move us in the main story further along. Both is somewhat believable. Like, it would make some sense that you would just escape and then there would be another scenario that was more difficult after that. It also makes some sense that
Ignition.
we get more story. That seems almost like that could be a secret passage. Now, one thing that occurs to me though is if I was supposed to find each of the bodies, then I question, like, why they wouldn't have given us a more mobile security console terminal to check all the bodies that we found. If this is anything like the Talos though, we'll get to this escape pod and find the escape pods don't actually work. Or that we die in the process. Like, seems like we've got 100 meters to go. Let's just take this nice and slow. What is this? As a item. It's only suit chipsets until we get the head scanner. Increase the amount of sim points earned for a reward. Nice. Maybe I should just sit on some neuromods too. Did we get past a wall there? I probably would have liked more things like that overall in the game, where it's just a alternate path, possibly a path you can be more stealthy around. It doesn't seem like at the moment that was very necessary, so maybe we will fight something in this area later. That being said, it is also just a kind of pointless path. Interesting. Seem to get some extra damage points for starting it on fire and blowing it up. Although that also may have hurt me. It still doesn't feel quite like even Dishonored, where Dishonored felt like they spent a lot more time and effort to... How much more of this map is there? A decent amount. Yep. It felt like in Dishonored there was a lot of effort put into the idea of stealth kills and loud and just run and gun kills. Although even in that case, when I played Dishonored, I never really felt like I was succeeding at doing stealth. Seems kind of ridiculous to even be able to pick up burnt circuit boards. At this point, if I hadn't found so much resources and crafted bullets, I almost certainly would be almost completely out of bullets at this point.
Warning. One escape pod remaining. Please evacuate in an orderly fashion.
Is this a corrupted harvester? Yes, it is. So, let's see what a recycler charge will do to him. It resisted that. Okay. Well, then how about that? So, let's go ahead and set the kinetic blast. Let's go ahead and equip the shotgun. So we've got all kinds of fire going on, and that definitely feels like that was the real challenge there. I think I've got a trauma going on me too. Let's look at our status. Suit damage, 3rd degree burns. Alright. So we've never dealt with traumas before. Let's see. So we use that to heal that, and then suit damage just would need a suit repair kit, which I don't think I have. So that feels like that was the boss fight to be had. And maybe if we are going to need more of these capacitor server type computer things, we will have to destroy more harvesters. That might be the way this plays, is that we destroy all the harvesters. Let's see. Got a lot of stuff in here. Very possibly not worth carrying all this stuff. Let's check the map. Yeah, it does just kind of seem like the whole game may be close to done. Somehow there is a marked NPC I missed all the way back there. Neuromods. Super thermal. Okay. Yeah, these control modules, you get those when you defeat a harvester. Let's go ahead and equip this. And then unfavorite. Assign that there. 49%. Assign that. possibly down there instead. And favorite that. Just repair our suit while we're at it. But without a suit upgrade, we are inherently going to not be able to carry this stuff. Not enough space to take that. So yeah, this is going to come down to, is there a reason to investigate further and go further? Did we find all 18 of the potential people in the game? Definitely doesn't feel like there's a recycler anywhere here. I guess I could have run back here and grabbed one of those and thrown that at the harvester, and that might have been a cheap pop for dealing damage against the harvesters. It definitely feels like, to me, the move is to see if we can escape. And if we can escape, escape. If we can't escape, then move the story forward. Lemon peel. If we can't escape, we'll run back to the main thing. Oh, here we go. So transfer all of our junk. Transfer this. Transfer this. Transfer this. Recycle all of that. Take that. Collect all these resources. Anything secret or special back here? Do you take fall damage in a building? Doesn't seem like it. Okay. Let's see. We got everything we could grab here. Go and grab that. Run back here. Take that. Take that. Our inventory is still too small. These areas are not that dense, though. If the general idea was to have an area that was just full of garbage always, and then maybe that garbage would turn into a mimic, the engine is limiting how much garbage they can actually have in one area. If the idea is to just have resources all over the place, they're not really doing the greatest of jobs even with that. Okay. integrity is way lower here, so we'll transfer that one. Let's go ahead and assign a new handgun. It would be fairly crazy if it turned out that this gun... Is that gun talking to me? I think it was. Yep. Be fairly crazy if you actually needed the Huntress bolt gun. Still just looking around. Make sure I didn't miss anything. If we look at the map, yeah, we're getting to this higher area. We've seen everything in this area. We've seen most of the things on this area. And we've seen most of the things there. Unless, of course, I was supposed to actually use my blast ability to blast a path open. There are no typhons in this area. You can see they're trying to do some environmental storytelling with people just sitting, drinking, waiting to potentially escape. So there's a full-on gate here, just opening this whole area. You really only have to get somewhere close to this. It's weird, I just don't have anything I really want to do with neuromods. Don't really have the greatest reasons to leave, to go back to the main area. Let's just take our chances and assume that we found most of the people. We probably didn't find all 18 of the people in the overworld. It is questionable, certainly, where we could find any other people. Like, it also definitely feels like you're not going to get all of the neuromods in one run. Definitely feels like you're just going to end up doing things over and over again. Potentially here, once we take this shuttlecraft ending, that is the last time we'll ever be able to use the shuttlecraft, and very possibly we'll end up playing as a different character. There could be a twist, certainly, where somebody mimic jumps out and attacks us. I assume in the real story nobody actually escaped with their lives, so this is just a simulation. So we straight up did just escape, and we unlocked another character. So what happens to all of the items that was in my inventory? Now, congratulations, you escaped the Pythias moon base with one TranStar crew member. Eventually you'll want to unlock all 5 crew members and discover all 5 escape routes. Escaping more than once in the same run yields increasingly large sim point rewards. Your ultimate goal is to escape with all crew members in one go without resetting the simulation. Good luck. But that does imply certainly that you're going to have to play the game at least 5 times to unlock probably 5 characters, or at least 3 or 4 times to unlock all 5 characters. Then you're going for that one last run in which you save everybody. And it doesn't seem like you're going to get any like telephone calls or conversations or anything like that. So we got the unlock of the engineer for 1,000. We escaped with an escape pod for 2,000. We escaped with the volunteer for 1,000. For each Typhon power acquired, or all the Typhon powers acquired, we got 600 points, and we acquired, I think, about 3. For each mimic kills, 900, phantom kills, 200, cystoids, 950, cystoid nests, 150, engineer operators destroyed, 400, so I could have gotten more points for destroying more engineering operators. Medical operators and science operators destroyed, harvesters destroyed. Chipsets collected, I think got me 1,500, big number there. TranStar crew located, 800, which I would suspect means you get 100 for each one we found, which potentially means I missed 10 characters somehow. Keycards collected 200, maps downloaded 200. Bonus sim points from the chipsets, 850. Crew escaped. Escape objectives completed 1,000. Crew escapes in a single run bonus of 2,000. Duplicate fabrication plans collected and duplicate chipsets collected. Both gave me extra points too, which definitely in the main game it would have been nice to get some kind of reward for getting duplicate fabrication plans. The only thing that I think I probably screwed up here more than anything was just specifically not injecting the neuromods in the brain. That's about the only thing that I'm particularly concerned about. We have a new incoming message from Basilisk exiting the simulation. So this is where we're going to get our conversation phone call. There's a problem certainly when it resets the simulation that it still kind of loads. I would have preferred that to be more instantaneous, but also I don't think you are going to die that often. This feels like this is super easy as compared to the main game. File read area, simulation corrupted.
Repeat. Basilisk to KASMA module 13. Copy, please. You're okay. Congratulations.
I thought I was going to have to actually do something.
Simulation is significantly corrupted, but scans of your brain tomography indicate no damage. The corruption appears to be limited to the host operator. No externalization, so you should be fine. We've transmitted an app that should help the simulation's stability. Please install it immediately so you're not caught unaware again. Basilisk out.
So we now have this new objective, which is allows tracking of the system stability in the sim. This executable is flagged as high priority. Please install it before re-entering the sim. Installation successful. As far as emails go, why this one particular is always flagged as unread, I don't know. So we can look around and just see if anything looks like it's changed. I suspect probably hasn't. Everything seems to be in the same place I left it. There's something here. can get really close. Maybe we could read it. July the 7th. But yep, doesn't really seem like there's anything else you can really do in the facility. In this little room. So you are just coming back to this. So now we could play as Joan Winslow, who has double health, less psi abilities. Or we could go back and play as this guy. Which maybe we can't go back and play as this guy. Select a crew member who has not yet escaped yet. So it does seem like we've just done everything that you could possibly do with a volunteer, which definitely feels like the whole game is just going to be fairly limited at that point. This one's progress. It's shared progress. Wouldn't have been the craziest thing if the game made you potentially play as each of these characters in the main story. So you can now, with like a loadout, purchase a gun and just double up on bullets. Is it probably worth it to have an EMP charge or T rations? Well, if it's anything like the game was before, it does seem potentially like an EMP charge might be worth it, but it's probably still a little too early to do anything. I just have a ridiculous amount of stuff. I could fill my entire inventory with bullets and still be fine. That being said, I guess these chipsets now. Sim points per reward for 1,000 seems worth it. And then cooldown on psi powers or immunity to EMP and null wave effects. Neither one of those really feel necessary. So it might be a case that you're finding the chipsets and then you purchase them for the next loadout. So the amount you're spending each run can get a lot more expensive. Recycle one science operator with your recycler charge as a KASMA bounty and escape using a shuttle to unlock their story objective. Which shuttle was different than escape pod, I guess? So the question to ask here is, are we starting in the same place all over again? Or are we starting in a different place and it has the simulation reset? Let's see. I'm just so used to having certain things in a certain way that immediately have to change things around. So as far as the map goes, I mean, this map looks exactly the same. Except for maybe we can go to the lab now. We don't have inventory items, and we didn't bring the neuromods over. So I may have just screwed this up terribly. Now this character has nothing on them. And the door's already locked. The power's off. So who knows if there's a mimic in this area or not. Well, this does create a weird situation. That was an etheric mimic. Okay. So I may have screwed myself over quite a bit by picking up all the resources that were unnecessary extras and putting them all on the very first character. Apparently I have some kind of corruption level. What is that all about? Seems like it would be fairly hard to be corrupt. And see, she has the repair and suit modification, extra inventory spaces, which maybe you don't even need extra inventory spaces. I don't know if reverse engineering is useful either. It does create a weird situation here where you potentially don't. Like, you don't actually have to waste bullets fighting these guys if they are going to not give you anything other than maybe weird material. This seems like new.
Cruz, this is VJ. Listen to me. You need to stay off the lunar surface. I repeat, do not step on the regolith. There's something underneath. I think it's drawn to movement. It senses vibrations. I can't kill it. There's a shuttle in crew, but we are stuck in the damn crater until we get the Typhon gates down. Round up anyone else you can find. Warn them.
So we now have like this moon shark character. So that was all my bullets. Let's just see if we can lose his attention. So with a turret, I potentially could take him out, which would be ideal, certainly. But we're at like corruption level 1. So each one of these were just like on rocks, and that is, I think, the general idea there. It seems like we're bleeding to death and we probably don't have anything that can heal us. No med kits. So it seems like you refill your health by 20%. Minimum. Okay. There wouldn't be a way to reset. So I may have wasted a lot of resources. I do think what I would find is that there's probably yeah, most of this seems to be the same still. As far as the amount of corruption, we can see the item we dropped here is still here as far as the control module. But mostly I do think I am going to end up just having to straight up fail and start over. Reveal the map some more. Let's see if that possibly changes much. The crew annex is the next escape section, and honestly it may not be that much. Now we have no escape pods remaining, which I think this probably tells me that that's going to be that forever. Seemingly only 5 remaining characters, and let's see if any of them are actually in the crater. We don't know when Noel Benson is. See if any of these are actually in the crater. Doesn't seem like it. So I probably did find everybody I could have found. I have a trauma at the moment, but can't really do anything about that. Just bleeding. Yeah. If I had a medical operator flying around, I'm sure they would help me a little bit more. Maybe bringing something like a ballistic turret up would make some sense.
Vital signs critical.
See, until we can repair this, we can't do anything with that. It would be pretty pathetic to have to play the whole game like this, where you're just deploying your ballistic turret to save the day. Deploy that. And then might as well just put them all in one place. Maybe if I got this one out this direction, I could get him in a nice spot to potentially target enemies. But that really is an assumption there that it would target and actually attack that monster. There we can see that section is open. But there's really no way I'm going to survive this. Absolute best case scenario, we'd come over here, transfer one junk, get that material, come over here, and then just not be able to craft anything as far as bullets. So I have 20 health and I have 20 health and a wrench, effectively. So what you would want, potentially, is just a nice safe place to put items down and store them. You wouldn't ideally want to shift them back into this. So guess the best place is I'll just choose this, and like, is it worth it to transfer over these items? Maybe worth it a little bit. But yeah, can't really drink your way out of a trauma. You can't really drink your way into good health. It's just not realistic. Right.
Vital signs critical.
Okay. So that gave me 850 points for collecting passwords. I don't even know where I got passwords, and killing mimics and all of that. No remaining crew members, resetting moon-based simulation so you can start a new run. Interesting. Okay. So then the thing I want to figure out here is... I'm not buying anything here. Let's buy this. Buy this. It's probably more than enough. Can we sell things? Not the default things. Alright. So where are we now? Like, I'm not going to do a full run. We should probably try to keep this down to 2-hour episodes. But are we back at the beginning with the same level of corruption and everything? Or have we changed things up? Like, we still have kinetic blast as an item. The key card is new. Again. This guy can only escape via the shuttle. I'm not immediately killed by mimics. Doesn't mean that, doesn't seem to indicate that the simulation has changed that way. The corruption level does seem to be the same. Feels like there's a harvester potentially around here. Right, no, it's a phantom. This thing is taking only 2 damage. The psionic blast seems to work very well. So what I would guess is the case is that items have refilled at the beginning of this simulation. Enemies and corruption level have stayed the same. So this is very much a roguelite experience in which things always improve. Like you're not going to run into a situation where the enemies can completely overwhelm you, or that you would run out of resources. There is a bit of a balance here that needs to be considered. And potentially, as long as you play this, why does the power go out when I get close? the more you play this, the more you're gonna memorize like the location of people. I think the game itself is going to be like ever evolving. Apparently we could also lure one security operator with a Typhon lure is an option. I definitely should have used as many neuro mods as possible. I'm trying to find the data. Is this the same one?
This is VJ. Listen to me. You need to stay off the lunar surface. I repeat,
That's the same.
Do not step on the regolith. There's something underneath. I think it's drawn to movement. It senses vibrations. I can't kill it. There's a shuttle in crew, but we are stuck in the damn crater until we get the Typhon gates down. Round up anyone else you can find. Warn them.
It does definitely feel like this is going to make going through this area just increasingly difficult multiple times over. And when you are at a potential level 5 of difficulty, it's my suspicion that you'll have a real hard time crossing this crater. Okay. Hopefully this moon shark just cannot see anything if you're staying still. Seems like that's the case. The cystoid nests not in that area. Now so it does feel like it's gotten back to the same situation now, where ideally you just would not. Did he just kick an entire box? Apparently he did. Like, that guy just hit me really hard. Where's the escape pod? Because I think that is really what you would do, is that you would just run to the escape pod here.
Scanning. Area not secure.
So you're either going to have a zapper gun or do something like that to get into an area like this.
Material detected.
And just take the shuttle. And before we take the shuttle, let's just straight up go into our inventory and drop everything. Yeah, before you could use the escape pod, you would have to have checked for the escape pods on the security station, which is actually a more difficult challenge. The story objective we can't probably do until the very end of the game, and arguably there is like a perfect story objective where you would have everybody escape through their specific story objective ways. If I had neuromods, I'd spin neuromods here, but yep. This is very Skyrim-esque, certainly, to just have a bunch of stuff in a pile. Just leaving all of that resources. Which I was wrong about. That was stupid of me. This is a whole nother level.
This is a reminder that all shuttle leave.
So go back. I guess you could probably see also why this game would not work well if you could make hard saves or quick saves as much. You do get to hold the X button to pick up items, so that's somewhat nice. Of course, the possibility that something got flung or is under the floor somewhat high. I guess it is an interesting question as to what would have happened if I had gone to the escape pod before checking if there was an escape pod. Like, I assume the escape pod is there. Right. The weirdness here, though, as we'll wrap up, is it definitely seems to me like there is a potential reason to start all over again, just from the very beginning, like delete the save file and start completely over again, because now that we're at this corruption level 2, there's not a lot that I think can fix that. Let's go ahead and eat one of these health tea rations just to see what it did for us. Like, the only thing that does seem to really carry over in a positive way is your mods, whereas every inventory item you pick up is something you're not leaving for the other players, and arguably even the mods have that same issue. I guess this is a mission email, and that's why it's still there. I guess maybe you also get fabrication plans. But there's only so many fabrication plans I imagine you could collect. There's some more stats, certainly. But yeah. Lure security operator with your Typhon lure. Maybe we could do that. And then maybe we'll get really lucky and be able to escape on the shuttle, but I question that because it does look like there's at least 5 levels here, and there's really no reason why I would succeed with just a handgun and bullets, although maybe they balanced the game out to account for that. That is kind of what it felt like the main game was trying to do, is to have every region be incredibly well balanced so that it didn't matter if you had a fully upgraded weapon or if you had a fully not upgraded weapon, just a brand new weapon, that you would still be able to succeed in every area. And that created no difficulty spikes, but made just the entire game feel very bland and boring because you never got any real entertaining challenge either. But yeah, I do suspect what's going to happen here is that you maybe play this way so that you can always have somebody escape via the escape pod, which is probably the easiest escape, and just pick a different starting character every time the scenario restarts. But you still are going to have to avoid those moon sharks, and I imagine moon sharks will just get replaced by something even bigger, or maybe not. Maybe they are just the nightmare equivalent. Moon sharks do feel more entertaining to fight already than the nightmares did, because the nightmares were really just bullet sponges. But yeah, also I'm going to heavily rely on using psi powers in these runs, which is going to help a lot more than what I did playing the main game. Anyways, for 2 hours and 20 minutes of gameplay, so far so good. I wouldn't be surprised if there's only 10 to 15 hours of gameplay in total for Mooncrash. I could also see it getting very repetitive and annoying. Ideally, you want to see a scenario where as the corruption level goes up, there are fewer enemies. Maybe they're stronger enemies, but it's just one person that you have to fight instead of 3 or 4 small mimics. But we'll just have to see. Anyways, I'll leave it at that. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and give me a game off my wish list. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.